You're listening to The Reclaimed Life, a podcast about recognizing manipulation, reclaiming your voice, and rebuilding a life that actually feels like your own. I'm Rachel Paxton, an author, ordained chaplain, and certified mental health coach. And each week I'll explore the patterns, dynamics, and turning points that help people rediscover who they truly are. Today's episode is called Your Reality Was Rewritten and You Didn't Even Realize It. Sometimes it's not obvious what happened. You just walk away from conversations feeling off. Not enough to explain, not enough to point to, just enough to start questioning yourself. In this episode, we're going to talk about what it looks like when your reality is slowly rewritten and why it's so hard to recognize it while you're in it. There's a moment that a lot of people can point to, but they don't always have the words for it. It's that feeling that something doesn't quite add up, but you can't explain why. You walk away from a conversation feeling off, maybe confused, maybe unsettled. But if someone asked you what happened, you wouldn't quite know how to describe it. You just know that something feels different. And over time, that feeling starts to grow, not loudly, not all at once, but quietly in the background. One of the hardest things to recognize is when your reality has been slowly rewritten. Not in an obvious way, not in a way that would immediately set off alarms, but in subtle shifts, in conversations where what you remember isn't what you're told happened, in moments where your reactions are questioned or minimized, in patterns where you start to feel like you're the one that's misunderstanding things. At first, you don't assume anything's wrong. You assume, I must have heard that wrong. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm just not remembering that correctly. So you adjust. You start checking yourself, replaying conversations, trying to get it right. But here's what begins to happen over time. Instead of trusting what you experienced, you start trusting what you're being told about your experience. And that's a really subtle shift because it doesn't feel like you're losing your sense of reality. It feels like you're trying to be fair, trying to be understanding, trying to make things work. This is why it's so hard to see while you're in it, because nothing feels extreme enough to point to. It's not one moment, it's a pattern, a slow accumulation of confusion, second guessing, and small moments where something didn't quite land right. You might find yourself asking, why can't I explain this clearly? Why do I feel so unsure all the time? Why does everything feel harder to sort out than it should? And the answer isn't that you're missing something. It's that what you're experiencing is difficult to see from the inside. When your reality has been rewritten over time, one of the first things to go is your trust in yourself. Not all at once, but gradually. You start to rely more on the other person's version of events than your own. You hesitate before speaking. You soften what you say. You question your reactions before you even express them. And eventually, you may not even realize how much you've adjusted yourself. But here's something important to hold on to. If something has felt off, if you've had that quiet sense that things don't quite add up, that awareness matters. Even if you couldn't explain it at the time, even if you still can't fully put it into words. Clarity doesn't usually come all at once. It comes in moments, in small realizations, in hearing something and thinking, that's what that was. This isn't about going back and analyzing everything. It's about allowing yourself to begin trusting what you've already sensed, gently, without pressure, without needing to have all the answers. If this resonates with you, you're not alone in that experience, and you didn't miss something obvious. Some things are hard to see clearly while you're inside of them. This is where that clarity begins, not in forcing answers, but in allowing yourself to recognize what you've already been noticing. And from there, you can start to come back to your own voice, one small step at a time. Thank you for listening to The Reclaimed Life. If something in this episode resonated with you, you're not alone. Many people are beginning to recognize unhealthy patterns in relationships, systems, and environments, and discovering that reclaiming their voice is possible. In future episodes, I'll explore topics like recognizing manipulation, understanding narcissistic dynamics, rebuilding self trust, and learning how to create a life that actually feels like your own. If you'd like to explore more of these ideas, you can visit my website at thereclaimedlifepodcast.com, where I share additional writing, resources, and future episodes of the show. Until next time, take a moment to listen to your intuition, trust what you're beginning to see, and remember that reclaiming your life often begins with one honest question. This is the Reclaimed Life.